Hello. Đi.
I'm going to show you how I lay out a doorway and a wall. This is on the closet wall. I actually realized that we've just been going through, throwing stuff together, and hadn't explained nothing. So I'm going to show you on this closet wall how that I do it. Now you got to keep in mind we're using rough lumber on our house, so the 1.5 inch thick, 3.5 thick isn't right. It don't work for us. You got to make, which all of our top and bottom plates we planed actually down to 1 3/4. So the way we've done all of our studs, we actually set up a jig with a chop saw and cut all of them 90 3/4, wasn't it? 90 3/4. That allowed for 1 3/4 bottom plate, 1 3/4 top plate, and 1 3/4 cap board. So that way, at the bottom of the ceiling joist, you got an even 8 feet. So to start out, this wall here, like I said, it's just a closet wall. So it's even 4 foot. Putting 2-foot door in it, so manufacturer calls for a 26-inch rough opening. So you go on 48. Half of 48 of course is 24. And then from the 24, I want to go out 13 inches from the 24 to give us the 26. So that's in there. The 14 is 10 inches. 11, that's 13 inches from the 24. And then 37 will be 13 from the 24 the other way. That will be the inside of the jack stud. Unfortunately, I can't do too good trying to tell what I'm doing. But the way you always do it, you mark where you want your studs to go, so that way when you're nailing it all together, you'll be stuck. Also, you're going to lay out for your top cripples on our non-load-bearing interior walls. If they, other than like the one in the living room that will have the TV and stuff on it, we're laying on 16 centers. This one here and all other non-load-bearing walls, we're just laying on 2-foot centers. So when you coming from your edge over for your 2 foot. For your cripple, our boards our studs are actually a full 2 inches thick. So we go 1 inch past the 25, put your mark back towards the 24. So that way you know that your cripple lays on that side. The center of that 2x4 will be exactly on 2 feet. Which is not as critical on a little wall like this, because it's a 4-foot wall, so you're just going to be using a 4-foot piece of drywall, or maybe some people, I guess they still use paneling, but which I messed up where I wrote in a top cripple on the door. You don't have bottom cripples in the on windows, but the way we'll lay this out, I have where my jack studs is gonna fall inside of them, on both of them, both of my plates. That way I know they're exactly right. Now you don't see the cap board here right now because actually I would put the closet together. You'll have your little wall, your short wall, and your long wall with your doorway in it, and then the cap board will tie them together to help make everything sturdy. And there's no need in laying no marks out here because obviously we already know you're going to put a stud on each end, and then when you put your jack studs in, you'll put a full stud in right beside your jack stud, which, like I said, there's really no need in marking it because you already know it goes there. Now that I've done that, I'm going to lay them down out of my way. And I'm going to grab 2 studs. I'll grab 2 studs up, and like I said, we made all of our studs 90 3/4 to line up with the for the 1 3/4 top, bottom, and cap boards. So when I'm laying out for the wall or for the door, I will have, when we build the actual wall, your jack stud is going to sit on top of your bottom plate. So you want to minus that from the 82-inch high rough opening for your doors. So you minus the 1 3/4 from the 82, which is usually 80 1/4. That would be the height of your jack studs on each side of your door. Don't throw away the 2 that you cut off with your pre-cut studs, because you just cut off the thickness of whatever you make your header for Christmas. Alright, now that I've got my 2 jack studs cut, I'll look them over, see how I want to lay them. I don't want them laying because, like I said, we are using rough lumber, so everything is a little different. Not enough to really matter. These right here is my prettier, straighter edges. I want them facing the bedroom, away from the outside of the closet into the bedroom. Because if you look, you can see that there is a little difference in thickness. So that could make your drywall set off just a little, a lot less noticeable inside of a closet than inside of a main room. You want to measure your thickness of both of them. 3 7/8 on that end. 3 7/8 on that end, so it's not going to matter to me on my top and bottom. I just have to remember that the 2 combined is 3 7/8. If you ever see me or them making fun of me about my scratch blocks, this is what I do. I use a scratch block, I call it.
I think he needs a whole 2x4, but we'll just not go into that.
It's okay, Dad. I can't reach you.
But the next thing I need to do is I need to round up the stuff to make my header. I got enough. We got one laid over here. I don't know if I'll be able to make 2 out of it or not. But
Why'd you write it on 2 blocks?
because we'll end up moving that around and I won't get used to it. Write it down twice, it's easier to remember. Alright, now when I go to make my header, do not move my scratch block. I will kick you in the tail.
Well, I'm sorry. I thought you needed it out of your way.
No, o'clock here. All right. Now, our rough opening for a 24-inch door is 26 inches. So, the thickness of my 2 jack studs plus what you want your rough opening. If you're putting a 36-inch door, your rough opening is 38. So untouchable. Gives you an inch on each side to shim and level and make everything all perfect. But when you add those together, which in my case is 29 7/8 to give me what I need my rough opening to be. Now what I'm doing is adding the thickness of each of my jack studs to my header, so that way my header will actually set on top of them to the edge of them, and then my king studs will come in against it, nail in to help tie everything together for support and to help make sure everything is square.
So it doesn't follow.
Well, yeah, of course, we don't want to follow it. Alright, so 29 7/8.
Maddie, he's gonna need another plane board. He's gonna need another
We're going to need
plane.
another one of the plane board. Now, another thing we are doing when me and my buddy cut the 2x4s, we did resaw them down to 3.5 wide on account of if something happened and we
Might have to get one of the long ones and cut it
have to
down.
go buy store-bought 2x4s to finish or anything, they will line up.
Might have to get one of those other ones and cut it down. Because we're gonna have to have 4 more of that size anyway, so. I don't think that one will work. You can ask him, but I don't think it will. It is a plane.
So I got my 2 headers, my 2 blocks to make my header with, I'm sorry. I won't nail them together because they could be a little thick or a little thin, and when I actually put them inside the wall, I'm going to have to probably put a little gap in them. So, what I am going to do though, I'm going to line them up here, and I'm going to pick my thickest one, because obviously, like I said, there's a little difference from everything. Thickest one's what we're going to go with. And I'm going to lay it up here with my top plate that I've already laid out for my door. And line it up center. Don't have to be exactly precise. Like I said, it's going to be just a little different thickness, but it gives me an idea as to where my cripples are going to fall. The reason I want to do that is so that way I can measure this way on my thickest header board, my tallest on the 4 inch, 3.5 inch direction. Like this one here actually ended up being 3 5/8. At that particular point, then where your center triple goes, where the bands walk on us a little bit, we're almost 3 3/4 right there. And like I said, that is why you measure it like this. That way when you lay it all out, and then on this side, we'll be back to brain part. I lost where I was at there. I looked right at it. Now this one here, you're showing 3.8 off. 3.8, then the word's 3. No, I'm sorry, 3.5. My bad. 3 5/8 on this side. That side and the center's 3 1/4, 1/8 inch difference. But now that I have that figured, all right, we know that our studs between top bottom plate is 90 3/4. Well, we cut them off. All right. So then you're going to subtract off the 80.
82.
Not 82. 82 minus the 1 3/4 is 80 1/4. You'll minus off the 80 1/4, which is going to give you 10 1/2. Now, after you figured, all right, you know you're going to need 10 1/2. Now the next thing you got to do, that means from the top of this jack stud to the bottom of your top plate, it's going to be 10 1/2 inches. And this is where you have to subtract off your other measurements. Now I've got 3 5/8, and so when you subtract 3 5/8 from it, 5/8 is going to leave you from 1/2. It's too much. So you're going to be taking 1/8 off of your next inch, so that gives you 7/8. 3 from 7 is, or 3 from 10 will give you 7. However, you use the 1 inch over here to bust down. So it's going to make 2 of your cripples going to be 6 7/8. Your other one is 3 3/4. So you're actually going to end up 6 3/4 when you subtract it off. I like to mark on my boards what they are, so I don't have to remeasure when I go to actually install them.
Yes.
Thank you.
If it'll work. I don't know if that will work or not. Probably need to go get another one.
He'll be alright. I'll make it some more. Yeah, it's pretty good to hear right there. It gets down pretty bad, but this area will be alright. What?
I said, well, I will go. Give me hey, can I use this all?
No.
Sure. Just what we need. Have to stop work for cut off fingers.
I had that.
I don't use the saw when we're using longer boards where I can help you with it.
You're not near the cut off your fingers?
Alright, so I've explained how we come up with our, I think I've explained everything on how we come up with what we were cutting and such. So there's the headers, the jack studs. That's my top and bottom plates for my wall. I'm going to lay them down out of my way for right now. And my top and bottom plates down out of my way. And actually I can go ahead and lay my headers out of my way for this next step. I'm going to grab a regular stud. In this case, I'm going to make a huge stud, actually 2 of them.
We found it easier to lay it out like this versus trying to put it together while putting the whole wall together. It's just, it's easier, and we can make sure that everything gets nailed good if we lay it out like this first.
Now you want to take on your king stud that you're going to use. Make sure you get the straighter to the rear side of it. Line up the straighter to the rear side of your
Straight side.
jack stud or brain. But to keep from having the ratchet,
I need to get her
so the nail there. Like I said, the side that's facing the room, I always try to keep it as straight as I can.
I had it straight.
Oh, hey, Miss Lee.
It's hurt.
As you can see, we got a little warp going on there. So I'm going to pull this one over with a nail and straighten it out. As far as the warp bars go, don't blame it on being rough cut, because I'm here to tell you, dressed is a whole lot worse actually. Alright, Maddie, if you want the nail, let me get it lined up. Start it, well, we'll start down. Here you go. Alright, straight your sides. Alright. Well, I'm in the way of the camera. Alright.
Yep. Wrong nail.
Go get your hammer
Yeah.
before you kill my fingers.
Let me do it.
Technically, this is mom's nail. Technically, yours.
And again, I'm lining them up as we go.
Here. I got mine.
I thought yours was in your keyboard. Right now, that one and that. Got claws and everything. Sharp. You get that.
And now,
I am. Now,
Hold that for your dad.
what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to turn these around so it's a little easier to see on the camera. Alright, I'm going to keep my smoother side up. See, you know, there is a little difference right there. There's not much, but there is the best that you can do. Sawing on these little small mills, and like I said, even sawing on the big mills, it's still off. They just got the big industrial planers and everything, and you lose a lot of the meat of your wood. Now I'm going to take my thinner header board, I'm going to put it down on the bottom because it's out of my way. Now I'm going to take the thicker one that I marked all of my numbers on, so I know exactly where I got to put which cripple at. Pull them in there tight. Now for this, I am going to use the nail gun, and the reason being is that when you're trying to nail this stuff together, using hammer nails, it wants to flop around and move, so pull it tight against my jack stud, get it in there and move. Right, I got it. Pull it tight against my jack stud and my king stud. Make sure this side here is flush. Good. Which it didn't do right, but it's fired.
Everything you need on the outside of the ship.
No.
Should I pause?
Nope. I go now. Now pull my. Ready? I pull my boards off the sawhorse a little so I can line this bottom one up right. I'll level it up where my cripples are going to sit against it.
Can you hold it?
Use your fingers. Come over to the other side and do the same thing.
Can I hold the hammer? Can I hold the hammer?
Maddie?
Thank you.
Come on.
Alright, so now I've got my header nailed in. And remember the 3 3/4, 6 3/4 cripple there, 6 7/8 over here on the rest of them. But because this one moved on us,
Move, Caden.
again, flushing everything to the room side. This nail gun's an overachiever. It likes to shoot 2 nails at once. Alright, now that we've got it all nailed together, and we got it out here because there's more room here in the little dining room area than in the bedrooms. Now I'll carry it in there. I just want to remember that this is my trued up side that I want facing the room. Keep that in mind when I carry it in. Oh, don't shoulder it, go. Man, kill the horse across this. Marks is already laid out on the floor.
I'm gonna pause, well, I'm gonna pause for just a second and bring that in there. Okay. Yeah.
Alright, and you see I stood it up here. She'll zoom down in here. You see the blue chalk where we laid it out. Laid out our mark on this side for the inside of our other wall that we'd already built and carried in here. Maddie, come here and balance this for me so I can get down the front. Got it? So keep from hearing you already got to hear the generator running because we got to have lights and I want to make sure I'm tight against my plate on my exterior wall and on my mark. And nailed in. come across. I want to make sure that it stays straight, you know, from the doorway. Don't make a boo-boo like I have in the past and put a nail through here because you're going to cut through this board out.
And you don't.
Hey, I got this balance. You go grab me a level. Level, level, level. I'm gonna go over here before I get no. Hang on just a minute. Let me get me a nail started. Get me a nail started here. So once I can get level, I can just knock it on in. What we got there, Dick? Yep, I'm level. Always want to remember not to hit on the board where your levels aren't, and we'll mess them up. That was good.
And I cannot put the wall, so I'm going to use.
That's a good one, Jake. Put that on the blooper reel. And just put a couple in there and pull it tight against the wall. When we laid our exterior walls out, I took and turned the 2x8 sideways. So you got plenty of meat to nail your drywall to when you come in.
Maddie, no.
Don't you try lifting at the door, you varmint, or a wall.
That door, that's a wall.
Go grab me a few more 16 nails, please. Alright, I'm gonna look at my wall again, make sure my little side wall that we'd already built, make sure where my evened up side is.
Bye. Bye.
we're not at a disco.
The lighting's
That is our heart rechargeable work light telling us the battery's going dead.
I'll go get the battery.
We'll grab us some battery. Hopefully this wall doesn't fall down. There you go. Down the wall right there. I'm going to change the battery real quick.
Hey, now the camera can't see. Goodbye.
Let there be light yet again. Yeah, we got generator room for lights throughout the rest of the house, but we've just got 4 temporary lights put up. And none of which are on this side. Alright, so on this one, I marked from the inside, so that way I knew my wall fell right out here. Yeah, what'd you do?
I laid it over there. Hopefully I'm not all over it. I don't think you had a look.
But this part right here will show you how to lay a wall out and then give you all the footage on us actually putting them up.